everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here today with me, and I am glad to be back myself. This whole last week I've kind of been under the weather with a sinus headache. I had dizzy spells. I don't know what was going on, but I couldn't make any videos this last week. I just wasn't feeling like it, so I'm glad to be back today. Today I'm going to continue, and we are going to continue making some fancy fold cards from kits and pattern paper that I have. And remember, I was challenging myself to try to make cards just out of my stash or just out of pattern paper, not with stamping or die cutting anything fancy or anything. Just see how I could make cards just with the papers. So in the meantime, this last week I got the new Simon Says stamp kit, You Shine, and boy, it is so beautiful. It has all kinds of lemons and butterflies, and it came with this package of Tim Holtz window frames, which I'm super excited about. I really want to try to get started trying to use some of those, and maybe I'll make a video with that. I've never used these before, but they just look so intriguing. So it comes with that. It comes with lots of papers that are butterflies and little bees and ginghams, and just a lot of inspiration going on here. And so I thought, well, no, it hasn't been in my stash, it just came, but I'm so excited about getting it that I'm going to use it for our fancy fold card today. And today we're going to do a triple fold card, or a triple accordion card. Super easy, and I just hope that you really like it and that you'll try to make it. And I hope you'll get this kit because it's beautiful. So let's get started. To start, I'm going to go ahead and make the base of our card. I'm going to raise my camera up just a little bit here and see if it can get it straight. It's not looking terribly straight to me. There we go. So I'm just starting with a basic piece of 8.5 by 11 black cardstock, and my base has to be just half of this, 5.5 by 11. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that piece. There we go. Now I'm going to take this leftover piece that I have off the edge, and I'm going to cut a 1-inch band off of that, because we are going to put a belly band on this card. And if you don't know what a belly band is, that's okay, because you will learn what it is. But I'm just going to go ahead and take 1 inch off of here, and that's going to serve as our belly band later on. So now we're going to score this card 3 places. And once again, I am using my new trimmer that I got that's actually a Stampin' Up trimmer, and I've told you a bunch of times that I don't have anything to do with Stampin' Up, but I saw that it had both the scoring blade and the cutting blade all together, and my old trimmer only had one, and then I had to change them out, and it was a pain. So I got this and I'm loving it. So before we used this dark trimmer to actually cut it, I'm going to pull this up and push that over there, and we're going to score it first. I had it lined up and then I was talking too much. We're going to score it first at 1 1/4, and here's my scoring blade, and I'm just going to score it a couple times, and then we're going to score it again at 4 inches. Go down here to 4 inches and score it. And then we're going to score it at 6 3/4 inches. And for that, I need to take out the little extension here. I'll turn it around this way so you can see it. Can you see that? There we go. I'm trying a new way of filming, and I can't see the whole screen myself. So it's working out better for editing, but it's a little bit difficult for me to see what you're seeing. So there, I think that that's fine. This is 6 3/4, and I'm going to score it there. Okay, we're done with that. Let me put this away. And here's our base. So we scored it here at 6 3/4, and we're going to fold it this way. and use our bone folder to make sure this crease is really nice and crisp. When you're making these fancy fold cards, this is one step you do not want to skip, because it really matters in the end product what your card is going to look like. Boy, I scored it there, but you can't really tell it too much. Let's see if I can get it to fold, otherwise I will score it again. No, there we go. You score it because the bone folder makes these creases really crisp, and you want it to look that way. You don't want it to look just kind of halfway made. So you want these to be crisp, and this one we're going to fold this way, even with the other fold. Open this up, do this from the other side. So now there's our base, and you can see why it's called a triple fold, because there's 1, 2, 3 panels to it, and it opens up like that. It's so simple. And now all we're going to do is start putting things on the inside. I've already pre-cut them because I thought it was too boring for you to watch me cut them all, and I will be putting the dimensions on the screen, and you'll see them as you watch this. So this first piece of pattern paper is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So this is 5 1/2, and you want to have just a little border around it. And I loved this little floral pattern paper, and you can see the back has another pretty paper. It's kind of a shame to waste it, don't you think? But you know, you have to make some choices. So I'm just going to put some runner on this. These are so easy to make, but they're kind of impressive when somebody receives them, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to put this right down here with an even border around the edge as best I can, just like that. And then for this place, this is the area where they're going to where you're going to write your sentiment or stamp your sentiment. So what I did, I wanted to make that white so that I could write in it, but the thing is that it looked too blank to me. So what I did was I fussy cut a piece off one of the pages of pattern paper in the kit. Here you can see what it is. It's this beautiful piece of paper with the bird and lemons and some other graphics on it, and I'd really like to use those in the future. So this little butterfly was down here in the corner, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut that off. Remember, I'm in a quest here to use just the pattern paper, not to be putting stamps on. And of course it came with a beautiful stamp set too. Let me show you that, with lemons and all kinds of things on it. Just beautiful butterflies, little floral arrangement down here. Awesome. But today, this is part of my challenge to me to just use pattern paper. So, and especially if you're a beginner and you're a little bit intimidated by stamping and coloring and everything, I just want to give you some options that you too can use these kinds of materials and make beautiful things with them. And then when you feel more comfortable, do some tutorials on all these other techniques and you can move up. But even as a beginner, you can do this. It's just basically cut and paste, and it looks fabulous. So what I'm going to do is use some liquid glue to put on this. I'm going to put this on here first, and I'm going to need to do some trimming, I think, of it because it's a little bit wide for this piece of paper. I wanted to put something on it, but I wanted to still leave room to be able to write happy birthday or whatever I'm going to do with it. I'm going to put it right down here on this side, and as you can tell, it sticks off the paper a bit. I use liquid glue so that 2 reasons. One, because these little antennae are so small. Hold that down there. And 2, because it gives me a little play on it, and then you can see it sticks over the edge. So I'm going to take my scissors, my big scissors here, and just trim it off. Okay, so that gives us this little piece here, and I can write my sentiment up there when the time comes to give this card. So now I'm going to just go ahead and use the tape runner again This really is so easy, but I love these colors. Yellow and black together just look fabulous, don't they? They're so artistic looking even if you don't do anything. They just are beautiful. Okay, I like pink and black too. Yellow and black, pink and black, pink and gray. You know, when I was a kid, really a kid, little kid, back in the 50s, yellow and gray and pink and gray were very popular home decorating colors. People had their kitchens in pink and gray and yellow and gray, and they're really popular. Okay, now when this closes, we need another panel for this. So we don't see the sentiment, we see this. And for that, I chose this kind of turquoise gingham. And it may look dirty to you here, but it's not dirty. It's just the artistic, the graphics there make it look kind of aged and everything. It doesn't look all bright and shiny, which is how it's supposed to look. So now we're going to glue that down. Same thing. Here on this paper you can see the back of it is this really cute little bee paper that I have extra of, so I'll be using that on something. You don't want any of this to go to waste. Okay. I like getting these kits every month from Simon Says Stamps because there's always kind of a surprise factor, and it's kind of fun to do that. Okay, so here we have this opening like that, and now we have these two little areas, and for that I chose this paper that has like a little lemon on it, and it has lemon soda printed on it, and then it has these yellow butterflies. So now I want to show you, because I needed two strips for this side and that side, I cut the two strips out. But I want to show you something. I was able to get one strip. I fussy cut it, so to speak. I did it with my trimmer, but I fussy cut it in the sense that I wanted these butterflies on the front. So I made sure that I cut it in a way that the butterflies showed. And so what I wanted to say about that is that when you are making these panels, the way to elevate your card above just any old card is to be really intentional about your choices of papers and where you cut them. Because I could have cut this any old place, and see, the inside one I couldn't get another piece that had all those butterflies, and so I'm going to put this inside, and that's okay because it isn't looked at quite as much. But if you can tell between this piece that I'm putting on the inside and this piece that I'm putting on the outside, I intentionally designed it so that those butterflies would show. And I just wanted to remind you that when you're doing these kinds of simple cards, they can look really awesome, but you need to be intentional about choosing your papers, which papers go together, what look you want, what you want on the paper that's going to show. Just all those little decisions make your card move up a level in terms of being more finished and polished, let's put it that way. Of course, you don't have to do any of that, but if you're interested in your card looking a little bit more elevated, then just making those kinds of quality decisions makes a difference. So let's put these two panels on. Put this one on the front. Just like that. Put those butterflies on and get them centered and straight. There we go. And we're going to put this one on the inside, and we're going to be done putting things on our card. How easy is that? But it looks so pretty, and it uses up these papers, and it's a perfect card for using pattern paper. And that's the goal here, is to give you lots of choices of fancy fold cards where you can use pattern paper from your stash and use up what you've got if you're a pattern paper fanatic like me. So there we go. Look at that. It just opens up just like that. There's the butterfly. I'll write my sentiment right there. And of course you can put other things on it if you want, but to me I think this pattern paper is busy enough. And that's why I chose this gingham here, was because I had a pattern here and a pattern here, and 3 big pattern papers next to each other would not be successful. And I wanted to bring this turquoise in because the turquoise is repeated throughout the kit. So there's the basic card, just like that. Super easy. But now we're going to put this belly band around it. So a belly band is just a band that goes around the outside of the card to kind of hold it all together. And I'm going to do it here. The thing is with a belly band, if you measure it ahead of time according to the measurements and you cut it or put creases in it according to the measurements, sometimes it's too tight and sometimes it's too loose. So you need to just kind of put it there and then crease it temporarily and then see how it goes on and off the card, because you want it to slide like that. You don't want it to be so loose that it just falls off when the person opens it, and you don't want it to be so tight that it gets stuck going up and down on the card. So you want to kind of do a little trial and error thing here, and we did that. And I'm going to take this off gently, and then I'm going to crease it right where the folds were to make it nice and sharp. And then I'm going to cut a little bit off so it doesn't overlap quite so much. Oops, still have something on my scissors there. And then I'm going to just put this together. Just put a little on the end of this, just like that. Okay, now we're going to try it and just see, make sure. If I need to make an adjustment, I will. No, that goes on there really well. What we need to do is put it around the other way so that the overlapping edge is in the front, and that doesn't seem to make sense because you're like, well, I don't want that overlapping edge right there showing. No, we're not going to have it show because we're going to put something else on here on the front to decorate it. And what I'm going to do is put this on here from the kit. And what I did was I took one of these sheets that has the 4 smaller little rectangles that you can cut out to use for your sentiments or whatever, and this was right there, and I just took a stitched rectangle and cut it out in a square, or I could have used a circle, but for some reason I just decided on squares today. And then from this paper I had enough extra to cut a backing piece. So what I'm going to do is just, this time I'm going to use some foam tape because I want this to have a little bit of dimension to it, more than just sticking it down with regular glue. My big scissors are out here, so I'll just use them. This is another thing that you can do that makes your cards look a little bit more elevated. And I know some of you, this is preaching to the choir because you've made cards for years and this is just nothing new to you. But I have so many viewers and subscribers who are brand new to card making that I make sure that I try to address things that they are thinking or going through or learning. So anyway, what I was going to say is, this is another thing that you can pay attention to, is that instead of just cutting this piece out and putting it on here, I backed it with a little frame so that it would have a little bit of oomph to it and a little bit of emphasis, and it wouldn't look so plain. And so here you see it looks a whole lot better having a frame on it than it does just plain. And so now what we're going to do is attach this to this, just like this, and we will be done with our card. So all I'm going to do is, I'm not going to put the glue on the square part. I'm going to put the glue right across the middle here where I want it to be. So we're going to do that. If I can get my tape runner the right way, just put a bunch of glue right in there, and then I'm going to center this right over it, make it straight, just like that, and press it down. So now here's your belly band moving up and down, and the person takes off the belly band and opens the card and reads what I've written right there. And there you have it, just like that. We have a beautiful fancy fold card that you can use for any occasion, and we made it all with simply cardstock and pattern paper. So I really hope that you will try this. You can make this a circle, you can make it oblong, you can do whatever you want for the front of the belly band. And just let your imagination and your creativity be your guide. And I'd really appreciate it if you would go ahead and check like under this video and go ahead and subscribe and click on the bell, because it really helps me in the YouTube world, and I really appreciate that. And I'd love for you to leave a comment too, because I read every one of them and they matter a great deal to me. So I would really appreciate that as well. And I also want to invite you, if you haven't already, to join my Facebook group. There will be a link down below in the comment area, in the information area. I know I never point the right way. It's this way. And I will also have all the measurements there, as well as the measurements on the screen when I edit this video. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.